just going up to the side a minute. So I have to refresh my my computer so that I can get the live. And then I can see the chats. There we go. We are on top chat, thank you. Live chats. And refresh that page. Right, love you, take your time. There we go. A is back. Well, look at that, look. Mrs. Original Spanner. She's here. Together with Maureen. And Fluffy Fish was that? I missed that. Fluffy Fish. Hello there, Fluffy Fish. It's a great name. Max is here. Almost a whole pack of spanners. Hi there, Susan, Mrs. Hearty Paw Paw. Let me just move you that way a bit, and then I can see. Blurry. That's my face when I'm trying to read the big screen in front of me. Not a good look, is it? Got me brew. We need some screwdrivers. I don't know about spanners. Wendy's here. Hello there, Wendy. And Margaret. Hello there. And Elizabeth Rose. Don't know why I said it like that. Sorry, Elizabeth Rose. And Suzanne and Pat. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I tell you, I've got me. Hang on, let me just bring it down a little bit so that you can see. I went charity shopping, and I got myself this cardigan and this top to go with it. So I'm all rusty and autumnal. What was that Tony's put? Good evening, Ms. Tinson, mods and all lovely ladies. Great to be catching you live finally. Huge fan of your work and ethos. Ooh, I have an ethos. That means I'm posh. Me? Posh? Yeah. No problem. You put a big smile on my face. Name is Sturdy. Tracy, glad to be back. Did you see they all got promoted in my absence? Yeah, because of your absence, Tracy, that's what it was. Marilyn's here and Kitty. No, love going charity shopping. And in fact, as you know, I've just moved to this area, and there's this charity shop down the road, and they have all my types of clothes in my size. Because I'm a big girl, you know, double chin and all of that. I'm a big girl. But they have my size of clothes in, which I love. So, yeah. Don't let having an ethos go to your head. Well, I'd love to know what my ethos is. Apart from, it's just paper. In fact, I was watching a Joggles video today. Now then, I jotted it down in my notes. I'm trying to think what it was. It was something like, imperfection is easier to achieve than perfection. And I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm adopting that. Thank you, name is Sturdy. Now, I have to say, you see, these were the colours that I know really suited me when I had naturally brown hair. But since I've gone au naturel old grey, I'm not quite so sure, because my skin tone looks different. So, So I'm not quite so sure if it matches me so much anymore. It matches the, you see all this red stuff here on my chest, little broken veins, that's from my liver not being a happy bunny. So it kind of matches and complements that bit. I just don't know about the rest of me. Yeah, come on Tony, what's my ethos? I'm curious now as well. Do you know, I've turned the big light off over there so that it doesn't reflect on my glasses, and I can see you can see the screen look that I'm looking at. Oh, Tony's done it. Hang on. Where did you put it? Oh, Max has put it. Your ethos: inspire, motivate, create. Perfectly imperfect is my mantra. Hi there, Karen from Wisconsin. Excuse me. It's my roast potatoes from lunchtime repeating on me. Sorry about that. Tell you, not very ladylike at all. Okay, 26, 27 people watching so far. Little Treasures by Nancy. Hello there. From South Florida. Okay, I want to, I'll say hello a bit more in a minute. Hello there, Kelly. But there's a couple of things that I just want to go through with you, one of which is important. But I'll come to the important bit in a minute. So, I'm kind of thinking that this is happening, all right? I noticed a while ago when I took a bit of a break from doing YouTube videos because I wasn't done too well, that my subscribers, they kept going up, then they kept going down, then they kept going up, and then they go down. So no matter how many it went up, it went down further than it did previously. Because I haven't been on the past week, because I've been ultra busy, which is what I'm going to come on to in a moment, it's done the same thing again. It went up, and in fact I was 34 subscribers away from reaching 19,000 subbies. 19,000? Anyway, I'm not there yet, but it's done it again. It started knocking the numbers down because I haven't been on all week. Now I don't know whether it's people have looked at maybe my other videos and decided that they're going to unsubscribe, or whether it's because I've not been on that YouTube decided, right, well in that case then we'll knock you some subscribers off. So if, hi there Natalie, the other spammer, so if you have subscribed recently, can you just check for me that you are still subscribed to my channel? Because if YouTube have been knocking people off, then it means that you might be unsubscribed, which means then that you won't get any notifications of when I've done any new videos or anything. So yeah, so I'd like you to check. All the spanners are here. So Max has put, is that a full house of misbehaviours? Yeah, probably. You know what they're like. So yeah, so I don't know if YouTube are knocking people off, or whether it's people have just gone, she's a bit pants, we're off, and we're unsubscribing. So if you have subscribed fairly recently, just go and check that you're still subscribed. And also, can you pass the word around, because I'm nearly at 19,000. Nearly. So this is my nearly dance. I'm not even prepared to go there as to what my actual dance will be, but this is my nearly dance. So I'm nearly at 19,000. So if you could spread the word, that would be appreciated. Okay. Now then, I missed a load of people coming in. Another YouTuber has said that YouTube occasionally unsubscribes subscribers. Yeah, so I don't know why. Sue says you're stuck with me. I'll subscribe under my 2 aliases, but you can't cut me out. Oh, okay. I think those that have been subscribed for a while, I think they kind of leave those alone. I think it's fairly new subscribers that they're sort of like, right, she's getting the boot. Their stupid computer and their algorithms drives you nuts. Okay, now to the important bit, which is why I've been busy all week and not here. So I mentioned in another video about doing a royal journal because it's our Queen's Platinum Jubilee this June. No other monarch in living history has reigned as long as our wonderful Queen Elizabeth. Yay! God save the gracious Queen. No, I won't sing because Tracy don't like it. Plus the fact I can't sing very well. So I said that I would do a couple of journals, and that's what I've been working on all this week. So we had pop-up shop last weekend, and on Monday I spent packing up the parcels. Tuesday I went to the post office, went food shopping, put everything away from the pop-up shop in the other room through that door there. Wednesday I was scouring the internet on eBay and on Amazon and other websites for goodies to put in the journal kits. So that was Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday and Friday I was working on the digital kit, of which there are 16 pages so far in this digital kit. So this is how it's going to work. There are only going to be 30 full kits available. That's all that I can do, is 30. And on the 26th, correct me spanners please if you would, did I say the 26th? 26th of March, there is going to be a special pop-up shop on my Facebook group, and it is the only place that they're going to be available. They're not going to be available on Etsy. They're only going to be available from the special pop-up shop, so that those that are members of the Facebook group get the benefit. Hi there, Beverly. Sorry, Nicola from Beverly. Nicola and I have a little bit of a bond. She lives in the same place that my son does, and her surname is the same name as where I live. How about that? So yeah, so on the 26th of March, there is going to be a special pop-up shop just purely for the Royal Journal. Okay, so there's going to be 2 different types. There's the Royal Journal and there's the British Journal. The Royal Journal is going to be purely to celebrate Her Madge's Platinum Jubilee, and it's going to be all in silvers and purples and greys. All right, so those are the main feature colours. There is going to be an actual kit for sale. There is going to be a digital kit for sale. There is going to be a printed papers kit for sale. All right, all relating to the same journal. Now, as I say, the actual full kit itself, there's only going to be 30, and it's first come, first served on the Facebook group. I'm not sure yet whether I will put the digital kit on Etsy at a slightly later date, but initially it will be available from the pop-up shop. Okay, so that's number 1. We'll park that over there. Number 2, The other kit, which will be the British kit, that's going to be in the normal pop-up shop, which will be the first Saturday in April. Okay, so that will be a full kit and a digital kit available, as well as normal pop-up shop goodies. Okay, now the reasoning behind the second one is it's multi-purpose, because I wanted to do something for those that might be having a bit of a street party or a bit of a personal, you know, in your own back garden kind of party to celebrate, so that you had somewhere to take photographs of your friends, your family or whoever, and you could add those to the journal. So that's why I was originally thinking of including a bit of Alice in Wonderland stuff, because of obviously the tea party from that. I'm not going to include Alice in this one, but if you wanted to, then you could do. So it's going to be a little bit just normal time, Wendy. Wendy's just asking what time. 10 o'clock in the morning, as per usual. So the second one could either be about Britain and red, white and blue and the British flag and all of that. Sorry, I'm talking a lot with my hands, aren't I? And if you want to use it for your own personal party or street party that you're having, then, you know, you could use it for that as well. So it's a bit of a multi-purpose type of thing. Okay, so does all that sort of make sense? That there's going to be the two separate kits, two separate dates. One is the 26th of March and the other will be the 2nd, 3rd of April in the normal pop-up shop. Now, what will happen with the Royal Journal is that I'm going to leave it a month. Excuse me, I'm going to leave it a month, and then I'm going to start doing tutorials on YouTube with this, to allow for those that live abroad, so in America and Canada, that they will have their kits available with them. They tend to take round about 2 to 3 weeks for America and 3 to 4 weeks for Canada. Who are you calling Carolyn? Using my Sunday name. So there will be a tutorial on how I'm going to be making my journal. Now, something that you might want to consider getting in the meantime is I'm going to do mine. Hang on, where have I put them? There. I'm going to be doing mine in a Reader's Digest book. Okay, I'm going to do mine in this book, but I'm also going to talk to you about this book, because in the UK we tend to get these rubbish covers. In America you seem to get lovely colours. All the ones that I've seen on the videos from America, you get these gorgeous covers, but in the UK we tend to get those. Okay, so I'm going to talk to how you can decorate a horrible cover Reader's Digest. Well, I'm using my really nice one for mine. Okay, so you might want to start having a look around charity shops and on eBay for a Reader's Digest book. Now, you don't have to have the kit to join in with the tutorials that I'm going to be doing. Okay. Sorry, what was that, Marilyn? When will the royal papers be available for a Canadian royalist? The kit is going to be available as from the 26th of March on a special pop-up shop, and there's going to be 30 full material kits. So paper, charms, napkins, envelopes, all that sort of thing. There's only going to be 30 of those. The digital kit, obviously, it's an endless amount. And the printed kit, again, will be limited numbers. So it'll be first come, first served. And Wendy, this is for you. It's one kit per person to enable others to have a kit, okay? It's just I know that Wendy likes ordering doubles of everything. Sorry, Wendy. What was that? Although these new mods, I'm so sorry that my hands are also spasm. So I may be putting the... Oh, okay. I've never seen a book like that in a charity shop. Okay, see you later, Natalie. Or see you in a bit, hopefully. Okay, so that's my special announcement. All right, so if you want to be with a chance to be able to purchase one of the kits, you will need to be there with your finger ready to order at the normal pop-up shop. If you want to join the Facebook group, there is normally a link under most of my videos, although I sometimes forget to update the lives in the description box beneath. There are 3 questions to answer to be able to join the group. The amount of people that can't read, please answer the 3 questions, it amazes me. Anyway, I've got a couple of people now that have tried to join and they didn't answer the 3 questions. If you don't answer the 3 questions, you ain't joining. Simple as. Julie will send you a little message to just remind you that that's what you need to do. If you invite a friend to join the group, you will need to tell them that that's what you've done and that they also need to answer the 3 questions too. Okay? Drinking and doodling, they let me in. That'll be me. I'll let you in. 3. That's how many, Tracy? 3. Because it's only me out of the moderators, because the moderators that are on chat at the moment are the moderators on the Facebook group, but they don't let you in. It's down to me. I decide whether you're joining or not. So if you don't get added, blame me. And that's Julie, as she's just put up in chat. She's the one that will send you a nice little message to say, excuse me, but you have not answered your 3 questions to be able to join the group. Please do so. Or words to that effect. Excuse me. Yeah, for different devices, it's different methods of being able to see all the questions. I think you should all just get laptops. It's so much easier. Never mind your Kindles and your tablets and your different phones. Still get a laptop. A laptop and an iPhone, I can help you then. After that, you're on your own. Okay, so is everyone okay with what I've said about the pop-up shop and about the 2 different royal journals? There's the Royal Journal and there's the British Journal. Are the digis printed? They're not printed. It's a digital kit for you to print for yourself, but I am thinking of offering it so that if you want it printed, so that might be in the pop-up shop as well, that if you want a printed version rather than having the digital kit, it just means that you only get 1 copy, whereas at least with the digital kit you can print off as many as you want. Okay, you're watching me on the TV. I'm on the telly. I'm famous. I'm on the telly. Okay. Can I just say that Hottie Popo's been very quiet this evening. Either that or she's gone. She's gone to go and watch one of the other lives that she normally goes and watches. Okay. I am going to spin the camera around because I am going to do the little mini tutorial on this little mini journal. Now I've got all of those out of the way. So just make a note, Carol, 25 minutes. because I want to put in the description box, if you don't want to listen to me prattling on and just want the tutorial, to scroll along to 25 minutes. So if you've scrolled along to 25 minutes to the tutorial, hi, nice to see you again. I'm going to spin the camera around now, so for those that have got Carol will explain what so how do we order from the pop-up shop, please? You go on the pop-up shop, it's just like a normal Facebook page, and there's a picture and then how many there are available, how much it is, and then you just place a comment underneath to go, I want one please and I live in the UK, I want one please and I live in the US, whatever. So you just comment underneath the picture, and I put the link up and Max puts a link up to be able to get to the pop-up shop, but it's just on my Facebook group, it's just a part of the group. So you've got your main discussion page and then you've got the pop-up shop page, it's all within the one group. Okay, as a spinning you, so if you've got wobbly eyes, now is the time to look away. Okay, I need to turn the light on, so just bear with. Readjust the camera. Okay, those with wobbly eyes can now look back, kind of. I think I'm just going to move the camera a touch more. There we go. In fact, I'm just going to lift you up just a touch more because I can't see the chat. And I'm going to have to put the kettle on in a minute and make myself another cup of tea. So in fact, I tell you what, I'll put the kettle on now, so that's boiling. There we go, kettle's on. And we'll make a little start. Oh, you haven't moved to the dark side, Max. In fact, it should be the same link all the time, shouldn't it? Actually, if you think about it. So maybe I should just make a note of the link that you show. I love my iPhone. Anyway, we digress. So this is the little book, and those are my spares. And this is the little bag that was included in the kit. In frame. Let me just see, because I want to bring it this way a touch. There we go. So this is the little bag that it's to be stored in. It's got a couple of charms added to it, and then this is magnetised. You open it up and it's got little pockets in there, and you can add photographs. Now I've called it Fond Memories because I thought, because we're now all starting to go out and go and see family, go and see friends, I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if whilst you're out visiting and catching up with your family and friends, that you took some photographs and you added them to this little mini journal. And of course there's also space on the back side as well to be able to add any pictures. So if you go and meet up with any friends for coffee, you know, take photographs of yourselves each time. And then there's a little journaling card inside of the envelope as well. Again, another place where you can add some little photographs. And the little bag is so that you can carry it around with you in your bag and you're protecting your little book. Now, I'm not adding personal photographs in these because some of my family members can't be seen on YouTube for specific reasons. So I've just used Mr. Tim's photo booth photographs to give you the idea of adding little photographs to the little booklet. Okay, and you don't have to have the kit to be able to follow along with making this particular item. So in the kit you got these little tiny envelopes, and you got 4 of them, okay? And the measurement of these are, oh, it's one of my hairs, get rid of you. The measurements are 3.5 inches by just over 2.5, 2 5/8, okay? So those are the little envelopes. Now there's no reason why you can't do it with a slightly bigger envelope. So these particular ones measure 3 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And this one, this is a really big envelope, and this one measures just over 6 1/4, 6 3/8 by 9. So it's the same technique whichever size envelopes you use. Okay, I'll just put them out of the way. But I just put the kit together with these little envelopes because I thought that they were cute, and I thought it was an ideal little booklet that you could carry around in your bag with your friends or your family's photographs in. Okay, I also included in the kit these little cards. Now these are ATC envelopes, and these are the ATC cards that came within the packs that I purchased to be able to put the kits together. So these fit inside of there, so there's 4 of those. There was also some pre-cut papers, and I gave the choice of either having a green set or a pink set. Okay, so these were the papers. I cut all these papers out with my own fair hands, so that you could just decorate up the envelopes and the cards really easily. So there was those included in the kit. There was these as well, some little note papers, so you can add those on the back of those cards. There were some vintage tickets, so that if you wanted to decorate the page up, and I'll show you mine again. So you can see, look, I've just used the tickets to decorate up sort of the background behind the photographs. Okay, and there was a little sheet of stickers, and everyone got different sheets of stickers within their pack. So those. There was also the picture of this little girl. Now this has been inkjet printed, so it means that you need to be careful about wetting it because it will ruin the ink. The ink will go all smudgy. There was also, I've forgotten something, just bear with me a minute. There was also, there we go, some wax pellets. Okay, so there was also some wax pellets included in the kit. There was the tea bag, and this is one of those that's more like fabric rather than paper. So there was one of those, and there were a couple of charms, a couple of little heart charms, and I put in a piece of lace. Now I didn't use the lace in mine, but the lace is there, so if you want to use it you can do. There was also some seam binding, and there was also, this is my collection of magnets, there was also some of these little magnets as well. Okay, so that was the kit, so that if you want to collate together your own selection from your own stash, if you didn't get a kit, at least now you can see what I'm going to be using within it. Alright, so I'm just going to go and top up my tea whilst you all chat with each other. I noticed that Tracy put up the link as well for the group. Thank you for that, Tracy. I don't know whether you can all still hear me. I'm just over the other side of the room. I'll ring you up. I bought tea up. I bought milk up. No blooming tea bags. That's no good, is it? have to have a milky coffee instead. Just bear with. I don't normally do this, but I know that I'm going to be on a little while. I'm going to say that to the camera, I don't normally do this, but it's just I know that I'm going to be on camera for a little while, and my voice tends to go when I'm thirsty. So I need to have a drink to hand, and a hot one. Okay, well, look, we've got a tea spoon up here. I've been organised. Just not the tea bags. Okay, hot water. Okay, I'm coming. That's coming. Okay, got me frothy coffee. Alright, so let's make a little start, shall we? So, first thing that I want to do is I want to stick my envelopes together. So let's just clear these out of the way a little bit. And I'm going to leave that there so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. So with the envelopes, although it's got a crease where the flap is, I would suggest still folding them, because you need to be able to see that crease line. I don't know if anyone's got their kit out who purchased one, and at least you could do is make us all a brew. There's only 42 of you. The words sod and off come to mind, Julie. So you need to be able to see where those creases are. So we're doing this live time together. Normally, if I was recording this, you'd only see me doing bits and pieces of it. Okay, which glue do I want to use? Collal. So the names with the spanners, Nicola, they are the moderators on the Facebook group, but they are also moderators of chat whenever I'm doing any lives, because it means that sometimes I can't always look at the comments that are going up. So if you ask me a question, I sometimes miss them. So it means that the moderators can answer any of your questions. Okay. So we've got our envelopes, and I'm just going to line them up like this so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. So this envelope, I'm going to stick to this flap, so it means that the flap is going to be stuck to the front side of the envelope, and this is why I need to see where that crease line is, because I need to see where I'm positioning the next envelope. Okay, so I'm just going to use my collal glue because it's paper to paper. That first bit came out a bit fast, so we'll just move you a bit, and then I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to put the base of this next envelope right next to that crease line. I'm not going to place it on the crease line, I'm going to put it up next to it. And because I've used the collal glue, it means that I've got a little bit of wiggle time to move. So I don't know whether you can see, look, there's the fold line, and you can see I've just put it up next to. Okay, so we'll do the same with the next flap, and we'll put the glue on. Take the next envelope and again put that flap on this side and butt it up next to that crease line. Now we're butting it up because we need to be able to fold this up, and remember that we've got to decorate it as well as add the photographs and the cards, so we need to make sure that we've left ourselves enough room to be able to fold this up into its little booklet format. So again, last one and last envelope. I think I went beyond. There we go. And I can flip it over. I'm just going to gently push that with my bend folder. Now I'm not pressing it too hard because otherwise all the glue that I've just put on that is still in liquid form will seep out. But if it does seep out, then it means that I can just go along and go and wipe it with my fingers. But I do have two special glue erasers. We call them rubbers here in the UK. I know the Americans think that's highly hysterical because rubbers for you is something completely different. But I've got these two specialist erasers. So these are, there's normally a link to my Amazon shop as well, where I've listed all the things that I like to use. So these are the two that I like to use, this one with my Tombow glue and this one for any other glue. So if it's just seeped out a little, then I can just rub it off, wait for it to dry just a little bit. Where's the micropore? My micropore is there. Micropore is also known as surgical tape. So there you go. So we'll put them away. Okay, so I've now got my 4 envelopes glued together. So it means that I can now fold these like so. Okay, so that they open in an accordion type fashion. Right, and this little flap here right at the very end will form part of the closure. So this has got to take in the depth of all of the paper, all of the envelopes, all of the photographs. So its natural fold line we won't be using. We're going to be using creating our own fold line, but we'll do that later on. But for the first step, it's just about gluing the envelopes together. Okay, so papers next. So you have a selection of the papers if you've got the kit, so you need to decide where you are going to put them, so in what order you want to arrange them. Now what we need to remember is that that one is going to be the front cover, so I'm going to put front cover on there and I'm going to flip it over, and this one is going to be the back cover. Okay, so you need to decide which ones you want on your front cover and then on each of the initial pages, both on the inside as well as on the back side. Now I'm just going to put mine on as they are. Alright, so I'm going to start with the inside because this is the side that I want to talk to you about. So on the inside, the envelope, and again I'll bring it up close, this particular envelope has got these little steps here. Okay, so you can see that. Right, so it's going to be difficult to just stick that on there because you need to make sure that you put your glue in the correct place so that you still got the opening to this envelope. Alright, there are a couple of ways in which you can do it. Excuse me. One is you can put your paper inside the envelope because it is fractionally smaller, or I've cut them fractionally smaller than the envelope itself, and push it in as far as it will go. And then you can use a pencil to just trace around that line. Okay, so I'll do it on this one. So I'm going to trace around. That line there. And then when you pull it out, I've now got where I need to cut so that it will fit directly onto there. Okay, now then, if you imagine that that's the pencil line, don't cut it to the left hand side of the pencil line. Don't cut it on the pencil line. cut it to the right hand side of the pencil line, all right, because the line that we've drawn is actually just beyond the edge of where that paper is for the envelope. So I'm going to cut on the right hand side of the pencil line, and the same again, right hand side of the pencil line. And right hand side of the pencil line, although it's the left hand side because of the way I'm holding it. And fingers crossed, that should now fit on that piece of paper and allow for that opening of the envelope to still be the same. Okay, you could just stick the paper on as it is, but you have to be careful about where you place the glue. So you would only need to place the glue just purely where the opening of the envelope is. When you put the paper on that way, it's actually a little bit more difficult to get inside of the pocket. You could punch a little semicircle, all right? So there's several options here of what you can do. Okay, now there is another option. Just hang on, I'm a slurp of my coffee. See what I mean? Like, my throat's, my voice is going. Okay. The other option is to glue this whole piece down flat on the surface of the envelope, so that you would place glue along the edge here. So we'll do it with this one. Do it with this one. So that piece is going to sit on there. So if I flip it over this way, I know that I've got this funny shape here. So I'm going to leave the funny shape unglued, and you'll see why in a bit. And I'm going to put glue on the remainder. But I am going to put a thin line of glue right along the edge, so that there's this panel here that shouldn't have any glue on it at all. Okay, and then that can sit on there, and there is a little bit of a border space around the papers and the envelopes. Okay, so because I put a little line of glue down there, I now can't access the pocket from this side. But what I can do, let's get there, my squircle punch. Go for that one. What I can do is I can put a circle at the top. Oh, it's because my glue's wet. It's like, no, I'm not having it. Come on. There we go. And then I can very carefully put my scissors inside the envelope and just snip across the envelope top there, and the envelope top there, so that I've now got a top loading pocket. I'll show you, the glue is not quite taken off yet, so that will be the entrance to the pocket. What was that, please, Carol? Name is sturdy, hee. Okay, so that's one way of doing the pocket, just sticking the whole piece down, closing up the cover of the envelope. The other way is to cut it out to follow the shape, or the other way is to I'm going to need some scrap paper. If you find that you can't punch through your paper, it's because it's too thin rather than it being a case of that your punch isn't working. So if you put several layers of paper together underneath and then punch a little squircle out. Okay, so those are the 3 different ways in which you can cover the inside of these envelopes. One is cut to size to fit the envelope shape itself. One is attached so that it's a little line of glue on the edge of the paper, but only glued to the envelope pocket so that you've left this little space empty. Otherwise you can't get anything all the way in. Or punch a little hole so that you've still got access, but you just need to be careful about applying the glue. So for applying the glue on this one, we'd follow the envelope itself. You hear that dog barking? And then that will sit on top of there. And we've got a little border, top, bottom and side. This one, we can cover the whole thing in glue, because we know that we've cut it to the size to fit the envelope opening. And this is the same for any envelope that you cover. Right, so you've got the options. Okay, so those are the 3 options for you to be able to access that pocket. This one, I think I might do it as a top opening one again so that it's the same as that one. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we know that we need the line of glue down this side to attach it to the envelope. We know that we need glue on this side to attach it to the top side of the envelope, but we know that we need to leave this space empty because we don't want to completely glue the envelope shut. Right, so across the bottom, round there and round there, and then we're just going to put a thin line of glue along that edge, and then across that bit there, and leave that space empty. And then that will sit on there. That will close the envelope opening up. And then we'll get the circle punch, and it might not do it so easily because the glue's still wet. Centralise that and just punch a little semicircle at the top. Okay, so 3 different ways. Okay, flip it over. Now the one for the back cover I'm just going to leave for the time being, but I'm going to choose the one for my front cover and the other 2. Now you can ink these papers up if you so wish. I'm choosing not to because I'm lazy. And these can just go on flat because there's no pocket to consider. That's on that one on there, I think, the dark green. Do I? Yeah, let's have the dark green on that one. Okay. Now as you can see, look, I've already punched that thumb hole out. So it means that when I put this one on, I've got to punch the thumb hole out of it as well. So that's going to have to wait a minute. And we'll have that one on there as well. Okay. As with anything that we make, there's always options. So don't ever watch a tutorial and think that that's the only way that it can be done. You know, it's about you using your imagination. And if you think to yourself, oh, actually, if I do that with what I've got, that would work really well. Okay, so I just need to leave that to dry. before I can punch that squircle out. And I'm going to put, no I'm not, talking out my bottom. Right, so I'm just going to leave the front and the back cover for a minute before I put those papers on. Okay, so those are the two that I'm going to put on there, but I'm going to leave those for a moment and then we'll come back to this in a minute and you'll see why when we get back there. Okay, so we've talked about the different ways in which you can decorate the pocket side of the envelopes. Then there's the little ATC cards. So these papers, they were all cut the same size, but the cards are fractionally smaller than the envelopes so that they fit in. So these papers might be a tad too big. You might need to just trim them down a little bit. So as you can see, look, they're a tad too long. Okay, but what I can do is I can glue the card on the back and then trim off any of the excess that I want. Or you can measure the card and then cut this out to the size that you want. I'm just going to stick mine on. So I want it that way around. So I want glue on the card. And then I'm just going to stick that onto the back of the paper. And then I can trim off the excess in a bit. I'm going to do that with all four. That's the paper, that's the card. So glue on the card. And then onto the back of the paper. Number 2. Oops. Paper and card. Put the glue on the card. Put the glue on the card. Many of you are wondering why I'm using collal glue, why I like using it. I do actually have a video on glues. I also have a video on the micropore to explain what the micropore is and why I like using it. But I use a variety of different glues because glues were created for different jobs. And so I use different glues for different purposes. Okay, let's check that these are... See, I've still got a little bit of wiggle room with this collal glue, which is why I like it. But I always use collal when I'm gluing paper to paper. Right. That one on the last one. So glue on the card. Turn over the paper. Stick the card to the back of the paper. I've got a tiny white border at each end, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, so those are my 4 ATC cards done. Slurp of coffee. Hi there, Catherine. Now then, I noticed that you mods are chatting quite happily amongst yourselves. Yeah, everyone else is really quiet. Yes, I do go back and read the chat, Tracer, just in case there's any specific questions that I need to answer. Okay, and then just trim off that little bit of excess top and bottom. Or if you're wise, stick your card at the top of the paper and then you only have to cut it off the bottom. Now the reason why I'm not so bothered about the little white edges down the sides is because I can actually ink these up. So I'm going to use my walnut stain, which is one of my favourites for inking up. Okay, because that white edge will get covered with the vintage photo. Okay, so that's why I'm not so worried about that white edge. One of the other things that I would do as well is get my corner chomper or any kind of corner rounder that you've got, and I would actually corner round these little cards, because one of the things that you'll notice is if you watch anyone trying to put a piece of card inside of a pocket, it always catches. Can you get that one right? And it catches because of this right angle here. It always gets caught up. So if you corner round it, it will slide in and out of a pocket much easier, and that's with any kind of tag, any kind of journaling card. If you corner round instead of having those right angles, it will slide in and out of the pocket a lot easier. Get that one just quite right. There we go. And then once I've done this, I would then ink up around all of the edges. Okay, clear the decks a little so I can see what it is that I'm doing. I'm just going to ink, which was the one that I was already inking up, that one. I'm not going to ink all of these up now, because I can, it's the sort of thing that I can do off screen that you don't have to watch me doing, but it gives you the idea and you can sort of see what's what. Now these are the cards that are going to go inside of the envelope pocket. Okay, so that's an uninked one and that's an inked one, right? Now on the back of these cards, that's why I included these little pieces, and they're just perforated, so if you fold and then tear, again you can ink these up if you want to, and then this can then be attached. Glue sticking out my fingernails, come on. This can be attached on the back, so that if you add a photograph on the front, then you can attach that on the back, and then you can write about that photograph on the front there. Okay. What are you lot talking about? Carol, I wonder what happened to the cheesecloth. I didn't include any cheesecloth, I don't think. If that's what you're referring to. Need some alcohol. I think this tonic water is making me spell incorrectly. Not enough tonic water in your gin, you mean. Again, you could ink that up, and you can ink the back of the little ATC card as well. Okay, so you've got space for putting the photograph and the little piece of paper on the back. You could just use lined paper if you haven't got any of these special labels, and you could just write about the photograph that's on the front. So if you go and meet your friend for a coffee, you can put the picture of you and your friend on there, and then you can write, we met up for a coffee after the C word, after a number of years of not seeing each other. Okay, so those are now ready. Once they've all been inked up and these little labels stuck on the back, they're ready to go in the envelope pockets. So we'll put those to one side. There is, within the kit, a single piece of paper still left. All right, and we're going to use that as part of decorating up the flap that's on the end. So let's go back to the envelopes. So we've got the back cover to do, we've got the front cover to do, and there's this piece here that I will attach onto this flap over here. Okay, just going to sip my coffee again. Okay, now then, when we fold all of this up, as I said, we're going to use this little flap here as the closure onto this side, and we're going to use this photograph to attach to the flap to act as the closure. Okay, so I've got to allow for the fact that now this is all folded up, it hasn't got the journaling cards in yet, there's already a depth there which its natural fold won't allow for. So if we just sit these cards in here for now, just so as you can see, by the time you add those cards, you can see, look, there's an even bigger depth there. Okay, if you can see that. So this needs to come up and then across. So up and then fold it over. And I'm going to do it loosely. I'm not going to sort of make it a permanent fold. I'm just going to do it with my finger and then open that out. So you can now see that was the original fold on the envelope, and that is the gentle fold that I've just made there. So excuse me, there is about 1/8 of an inch difference there. Okay, I want to cut her out so that she's ready for the next stage. Right, so she's ready for the next step. Let's just close her back up again. Now then, on the back cover, how can I explain this? Alright, for my closure on this one, I just took a piece of seam binding, wrapped it around so that it would slide on and off. Okay? If you wanted to attach the seam binding so that it was constantly attached to the cover, then you would need to glue it on the back first. So you would attach your seam binding. I'll just cut some so you can see. Let's use some of this. Find an end. So that would wrap around like so. Determine the length that you want it to be. So I would probably cut it off about there. And then you would need to glue that on the back. And then glue your piece of paper on top of that so that it's held completely in place. Or not do that and make the little wraparound that you can just slide on and off, which is what I prefer to do. So for me, I'm just going to stick this piece on the back as it is. Thank you very much, Wendy. Wendy's just saying that she likes my seam binding storage. So I've got it hung up on the stand behind me. So I have sort of greens on one ring and reds and pinks on another and whites and then blues on another. Okay, so that's my back piece now covered, but as I say, if I was going to use the seam binding as a closure, as a permanent closure, then I would need to fix that on first before I actually, I was going to use that on my front cover, wasn't I? Anyway, never mind. But the seam binding would need to be attached first, and then that little back piece of paper stuck on top. Now on the front cover, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, let's go for you. So I'm going to put that piece of paper on there. But before I do, I want to work out where the magnet closure is going to go, because I want the magnet underneath this piece of paper. So let me just get two. Oh, there's one. And keep them apart. There we are. So I've got these two little magnets, and again in my Amazon shop I've got a section on magnets, the different sizes that I use. So these I only need a little teeny tiny one. So I'm going to just push that flap over, move that piece of paper out of the way, and I know that my magnet needs to be about here, because this picture is going to have the other magnet on it to act as the closure. So I know that I want it round about there, sort of where my F is. So I want, and I always like to use my glossy accents to attach any sort of metal things to it. So I find it's a strong enough glue. There we go. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue on there. I'm going to throw a magnet on it, not literally. I thought I dropped it on the floor then. Okay, so I'm just going to drop the magnet on there. And then I'm going to use a little piece of my micropore to just hold it in place. And the micropore is thin enough to still be able to use the magnet strength-wise. Okay, so I'm going to put that one on top of there. Okay, so let's stick that in place next. And then that can go on there. Okay, so then I need to just drop this second magnet on top and literally drop it, because it will then automatically pick out its north and south, because they have to be opposites to be able to attract to each other. And did you see that, how it just spun across to where that magnet is? So I'll do it again. I'll drop it from here, and if you watch, oh, it won't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, try again. Drop it. Oh God, come on, Carol. Trying to be a smarty pants now. Drop it. It's not working now at all. Okay, let's do it from this side. There we go. It automatically jumps to where that other magnet is underneath that piece of paper. So the first time I did it, it was quite dramatic and worked. The second time, it didn't work. And then I'm going to put a tiny, tiny little drop. I mean, like tiny. You see, like tiny little drop. Maybe a tiny bit more, because I don't want it oozing out everywhere. And then I'm just going to sit. That will eventually stick to this. So just line it up so it's in the right place. And then just sit that on top. And that should hopefully adhere to the back of this picture. Okay. Whew. Slurp of coffee. Anyone any questions so far? Just while I take a little break, and hopefully that magnet will stick. You do well to get such a small dot out at once, Carol. Control, Max, it's the control. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I'm glad you thought it was spectacular. It was the first time I did it, second time didn't work. Is that a requirement to be a spanner? Ability to do special dances? Oh, Natalie's back. She's doing the flamenco. So, no one seems to have any questions. Okay, let's just see. No, it didn't stick. But it has left a little tiny mark on there. So, I know that I want to put a bigger W on that. There. Okay. And I need to remember, I'm going to take this off. Yeah, right, come on, don't be a smarty pants, come on. I want to come now, but I've got to keep it the right way around. Otherwise it won't attract to itself, so that I've got to flip over, stick on there, come on, stick in the right place. And add some micropore on top. Spanners don't dance. We spanner. Okay, so you can't see it, but it's pulling. Ooh, that's hovering. I can feel the magnetism hovering. So that means that that magnet will sit like that. Okay, so that's how that's going to go. Now then, this piece here. Trying to remember how I did it. Did I cut it out? Fold it over. I think I just folded it over. Maybe I'll cut it out. I think I cut it out. Let me just check. I folded it over. Okay. So this I pushed up against the edge there. Put the flap over. Right, so let's stick that bit down. So let's put a little bit of glue there on that edge. And some glue around the edge of the flap there. And then fold that over the top. Okay, so that is now stuck to the underside part of that flap. I can then fold that over. I can chop off the excess down there and then push that back. I didn't do a great job of cutting that very straight. Let me just cut it a little bit straighter. Put the glue on this side of the paper and fold it over so that it sticks to the flap of the envelope. Okay, so that's the flap of the envelope covered in paper. Omsy cat. Meow. And then this is going to sit on top of the flap wherever that magnet goes. Okay, but I want to use the wax pellets on it. So let me just plug my iron in. So I've got a little mini diddy iron just purely for crafting. And again, this is on my Amazon affiliate link. It doesn't take long to heat up at all. And then I've got a piece of wax paper, and again in the kit I sent along got them up here. Anyway, I sent along a piece of paper to be able to do this. And I want, let me use those. I'm just going to use these other envelopes, because with the best intentions, the wax can sometimes seep through this. And also I don't want the heat directly in contact with my table, so normally I'd have like a little, I've got a little ironing board, but it's a little bit too big for this space with the camera all set up and being on the live. So as you can see, it's got previous wax on here from when I've done other waxing, so I just leave it on there and I just keep using this same piece all the time. So I'm going to put my little picture on, and I'm just going to put, you don't need many actually, but I'm just going to drop a few about, and it doesn't matter if you, oh, my iron's smoking, probably from wax, okay, because you can go back in, it will spread like mad, okay. So I'm going to fold that over, and then I'm just going to apply my iron on top, and it will start melting the wax. That's all there is to it. So you can actually see, look, the wax is now all melted under there. Okay, so I'm just going to do it again because it cools quite quickly. And pull that back. And you can actually see any spots that it's missed, but that's got it all perfectly. So I'm just going to take that off. And I'm using my set of tweezers to just pull it off, but you can see, look how the wax has just seeped through. So this is why you just need, got the tweezers, switch the iron off, so I don't want to be burning myself. So you do need something underneath for you to be able to get the wax, catch the wax. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so if I lift her up, you might not be able to see the wax on there, but I can. Now the other thing that it does, let's see what I've got, is when you wax a piece, it also, and I don't know whether it's done it with this because I think I did this one on card, but it normally makes it quite translucent. No, it's not done it so much on this one. So that picture is now waxed, and it just gives a different effect. I think I printed this on a thin card, but you can do it on normal paper. If you do it on normal paper, you can definitely see through it. So it's a form of making a kind of vellum, I suppose, as well. But the effect that it gives is lovely, and texturally, when you actually touch it, is really quite lovely. Okay, so that is now ready to adhere to my little front cover. So again, I'll let that magnet just play its part as to where this picture needs to sit. It just makes it look so much more vintage. Okay, and for this I'm going to use my Tombow glue. Okay, so I know that I want it to about there and there and there. So I've got sort of a rough idea. Let me just place that there so I can see. And then I can just put some glue on there. And then let that magnet play its part. And then glue that on there. It's got a little bit of seepage of glue there. I could probably just do with a little bit more on that edge. And again, you can distress the edges before you put the wax on. I'm just going to, I've budged it. Don't move. I'm just going to hold that in place whilst that glue just takes Okay, but that's why I've got that little iron. I don't do any ironing of clothes and stuff. So you know, I don't need an iron. But yeah, you can also use encaustic irons as well, because that's what the melting of wax is. It's called encaustic. You could use candle wax as well. Yeah, that works too. You're the best. Keep it up. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Cynthia. I don't know about that. There's a lot that's the best out there. Could candle wax work if it's grated? Yeah. So you know, like those little tea light candles, you could use those. Okay. So that's her now stuck in place, and that magnet, you can't hear it snapping, but I can. So that magnet will now hold that in place there. Right, and then I would just tie a piece of seam binding around it, and just do it quite loosely once everything's in place. So then I can slide that on and off as required. Okay, so let's just open her up and finish her off. Now, you could put another little piece of paper on the back of there if you wish, which is what I've done with this one. I actually used part of the ticket. I put a piece of scrap paper on that I'd got, and then put a little bit of the ticket on there. So this little perforation here, you could perforate that and cut that bit off and stick that on just over the top there to just help to protect the magnet. Okay, now then, I've got a couple of other things that I just need to do, and I've got some glue that's been oozing out, because normally I would just leave some of these things before I move on to the next step, so that you don't get that happening. So I've got some semicircle punches to do. So let me do those. Oh, come on, get in. Don't want to go in. So push that one out. And punch that one out. And then these will then slot in there like that. Let's hope I've glued these top ones right, otherwise these might not fit in. I might need to trim them down. So in fact what I'll do is I'll get my bone folder and just insert that. Might need to trim these down a bit to fit in that top one. Yeah, I need to trim those down a little bit for that to fit in. But we know that that one should fit in. Again, I just used my bone folder because glue might have just seeped out. Okay. That one can go in there. Let's see if this one might need trimming down a little too. Can't see an opening. Oh, I didn't cut the top of those, did I? No, you see, you didn't tell me, did you? You didn't tell me. Let's just cut across the top bit there. There we go. Yeah, the top ones, I'll need to just cut these down a little. Well, yeah, definitely need to cut those down, and I just need to stick that little corner of the envelope flap down as well. So I will cut those down to fit in there, but also then I can punch a nice little hole on the top and put some of the seam binding on top of there as well. Okay, so that's how you then make this little envelope booklet, and then the magnet will hold that shut, and then my seam binding as the closure. One last little thing, clear the decks. Okay, I just want to talk to you about the little bag. So as you can see, I just attached the little charms on each end of those strings. So just threaded it through the hole in the charm and just tightened it up with a little knot. Okay. The other thing that I then did was I inserted a scrap piece of paper inside for when it came to stamping on, because the ink that I used needs to be a permanent ink and not a water-based ink like your distress inks. So I used either one of my Ranger archival inks or one of my stays on inks, which these are the permanent inks. All right, so it means that if it gets wet, that ink is safe. Whereas if you use like the Tim Holtz distress ink, if you get water on it, it's just going to disappear. Excuse me. Oh yeah, our Tracy is different Tracy to the Tracy that you may be thinking is Tracy. Same name, different spelling for Tracy, but she's our Tracy. Tracy always gets it all the time. Right, so I used an all-over stamp, but you can use whichever stamp you want. So I can't even tell you whose stamp this is because I've thrown the packaging away. But I've got this lovely all-over stamp, and it's a big one. Inked that up, got my piece of paper inside, so I inked it up with, I think I used the stone grey, and then just stamped, but I held it there for a little bit, alright, so that I could make sure that the ink took hold onto this fabric. And I did the same on the back, but I did a bit of a whoopsie on the back. I didn't leave it on there long enough, look. Okay, so it's only very, very pale. And then you've got a little bag to keep your little booklet in. And of course the other thing that you can do is, once it's all together like this, you can then go round with your distress inks and distress all the little folds, all the tops, all the bottoms. You know, you can, that's entirely up to you. And then I'll just show you the original again. Move these out of the way. So I just used the tickets that were included in the kit to just make it a little bit more decorative. I didn't do anything majorly fancy with it. So here I just tore off a strip, and then I found words in my little chit chat book and just added words to it. Okay, so I'm happiest when I'm with you. Love you. Darling, you are a work of art. And I love us. Okay, so I just thought that that wording was quite apt if you were adding little photographs of your family or photographs of your friends. And then, as I say, you could then pull these little ATC cards out, have your photograph on there, put a little bit of a saying on there, and then write about it on the back of your card. But you can do this with any size of envelope you so desire. It is the same technique, whatever you actually use. Okay, has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask me? Just one last thing, you need to put the closure on it because that's not fixed, and so it will flip open on the back side, so that's why I put the closure on it. Okay, so it's then all encased and shut, and then, as I say, it belongs in its little pouch to keep it safe. All right, okay, any questions while I have a slurp of my coffee? And obviously you can take a little bit more time over it, because I'm trying to fit it in within a relatively short space of time, so to speak. I would normally take a little bit more effort and time over doing it than I've done in this video, to just get a slightly better finish. So like here, look, I wish that I'd cut that a little bit longer, you know, and then leave my glue in for a little bit longer before I closed it all up, so that the glue doesn't glue up the pages and stuff. Oh, Max has got a question. I've been really good, boss. Can I get your one, please? You see, I don't know that you've been good though, Max, because I've not been watching chat. What stamp did you use? I don't know. I've lost the packaging, Catherine. I don't know. It's that one. Where it's from, I have no idea. And I've had it a while now as well, so I don't know. I'm afraid I can't tell you, but it's that one. Not that that's much help, really, is it? Sorry. Really enjoyed this, Carol. You're the best. Thank you. You're very welcome, Wendy. I'll pay you that $5 later. So don't forget that if you've subscribed previously, can you just double check that you are still subscribed and not that YouTube has gone and kicked you off? I've been good, boss. Drinking and doodling. Now you see, I'm not your boss though, am I? I'm their boss. And don't forget, 26th of March is when the Royal Journal is going to be available. If you haven't subscribed previously, please do. That would be lovely. And especially if you can get me to 19,000. Happy dance. Teresa with an A. Thank you very much, Marilyn. Tony Campbell says, you've been in the naughty corner with me, Dee Dee. Thank you. Yeah, especially to the Spanners. I'm sure they've been doing a great job keeping you entertained. Catherine, it's okay, Carol. Looks like a background stamp. Yeah, I wish I could remember whose it was. I'm sure I haven't got the packaging for it anymore. I've had it a while, but it's not that long ago that I got it. It's not a Stampin' Up one. Was it a Stampin' Up? No, it wasn't Stampin' Up. I really can't remember whose it is. I am sorry. So yeah, I hope you'll all have a little go at making your own little fond memories mini journal. And as I say, doesn't matter what size envelope. It's just thin die cut with a view papers that we've used in the background. So so not a thick paper, because it just makes it too bulky. It needs to be that thin. Actually, I'm lying, it wasn't die cuts with a view, but it's that kind of thin paper that they use sometimes in their big thin. Hang on, I'll tell you which paper it was if I've got it here. Yeah. Was that one? Tattered and worn. That was where I got all the papers from. So it's, you know, it's thin paper. Doesn't give you a weight. By the Paper Studio. I got this when I was in America. No, nothing on the back either. Yeah, so I had to throw a load of stuff out of my suitcase before I came home, just so as I could put all the paper pads and other stuff that I'd purchased when I went to Hobby Lobby. Was it Hobby Lobby I went to? I think it was. I had to leave loads of stuff behind because the weight of all this stuff that I bought took me over my limit. So it was like, right, you're not coming back with me. You're not coming back with me. The paper is what's important. Okay, guys, thank you very much for what's that? Dislop Tracy, can you delete all our chat before the boss reads it, asking for a friend? Well, seeing as you've got a spanner, Jubilee, you can go and do that. You should have 3 little dots at the side, and if you click on it, so you could go through and go and do it. Thank you, Carol. I've enjoyed catching my first live with you all. I'm off to let the furry female out to do her thing. Thanks for the fun and laughter, girls. Who's the maker? It's a Paper Studio. 119602. Paper Studio. As I say, I got this from America. It's not one that's readily available in the UK. I know, it's delicious. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. There's some real... There's the odd one or two that's a bit acky-cacky, but there's some real gorgeous papers in there. But as I say, it's not one that is readily available in the UK. That's why I was like, right, those shoes, that cardigan, they're all staying in America in the bin. It's important I take this home. Okay, guys, for the third and final time, I am off. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you'll give the little fond memories journal a go. It would be lovely to see on group any pictures when you've made your own. I hope that you found it interesting. Try it with bigger envelopes as well, as I say. And thanks, ladies, so much for being the spanners on chat. I'm sure you've kept everyone entertained as usual. Please don't forget to give me the thumbs up. If after the live has finished, if you want to place a comment in the in the comments bit below the video, that would be great. And if you subscribe, I'll love you even more. To the moon and back. Okay, ladies, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all again really soon because I've got loads of videos lined up. See you soon. Bye for now. Bye. Bye. Love you.